Hello and welcome. I'm Dawn Bowerman with Blue Chip Marketing of Rochester, and joining me today is Dr. Ramona Stein of Sounds for Life. Welcome.
Thank you.
We've been talking a little bit about product, and the last few weeks Dr. Stein has shared with us some Starkey products and some of the things that they have done. And in the interim, we've gotten several questions. So we thought this week that we would answer some of the questions that you've been sending in to us, and kind of, give you a basis for the hearing technology and what's out there for you. First of all, we want to talk a little bit about what's happening in healthcare. Some facts that are kind of interesting, at least I thought, were 1 in 4 Americans households have a hearing loss, have someone in the household who has a hearing loss. 65% of those are of retirement age. And due to the baby boomers, which, I'm a part of that generation, we're living longer. So you're seeing a lot more of that now. But again, that doesn't really, affect everyone at is retirement age, because hearing loss can impact any age. So I also just want to bring that up as well. So having that been said, has there been an impact at all with the healthcare on the hearing aid business for you, or the hearing business, I guess, for you as an audiologist?
Yeah, one of the questions that I get everywhere I go to do presentations is, why doesn't insurance or Medicare cover hearing aids? And, some of the insurance companies have responded in a positive way, and I do applaud them for that. But for some of my customers, the insurance companies are kind of dictating which types and models of hearing aids they can wear, which particular technology is covered. And the reality is, as you said, people are living longer, but not only are they living longer, they're in the workforce longer, they're much more active than they have been in the past. And as a result, they find themselves in a lot of challenging listening environments. And so some of the technology that the insurance companies cover just won't meet the needs of those individuals, those more active individuals.
So they've kind of gone to a cookie cutter approach.
Some of them have, yes.
Yeah. And as we're finding that there's really definite needs out there that, like you said, people are living longer. Technology is out there. You can go to places now to hear music, and they have it that streams right into your hearing aids and things like that. Right. So that's really, a plus that individuals have as getting a good hearing aid.
Sure.
Now, one of the things I just kind of want to review, because again, we started out early talking about retirement and baby boomers. Mm-hmm. Then I mentioned that it's any age can really have a hearing loss.
Right.
What are some of the signs in review that, people might notice when they have a hearing loss?
Well, hearing loss that's related to the aging process generally starts to show up in your 40s, but it might not be that noticeable to you. But as the kind of the decades pass and the hearing loss increases, it does become noticeable. What the person with the hearing loss usually says is, people mumble or people don't speak clearly. So it's kind of interesting that they have a problem with their hearing, but it's kind of like everybody else's
fault.
Yeah. And I do tell people, it is true that people mumble and people don't speak clearly, but when you have normal hearing, you can kind of, compensate a little bit better for those situations. But things like the TV or radio is up too loud. Let's see. So the TV or radio is up too loud. If you have to ask people to repeat often, those are kind of the early signs, mm-hmm. Of a hearing loss. And it sneaks up on you. And I think I said a few weeks ago, it's generally kind of an embarrassing thing that happens. Sure. That actually makes a person or makes their family say, enough, it's time to do something about the hearing loss.
Yeah, and I know sometimes they just become withdrawn, stop going places that they normally would go.
Right.
And, those are all signs. And especially with an active person, if you notice those things, I think it's important to be aware of those things. It's interesting because the TV up loud is probably one of the ones that are most prevalent for people out there.
Yes.
Even myself, like I told you last week, my husband, I'm 100% convinced he has a hearing loss, but he won't do anything about it right now because I sit in my office and I can barely hear myself think because the TV is so loud.
Right.
So that's kind of, interesting that is. Now, based on that information, they've done some studies. And again, the reason why we're talking today is Dr. Stein has a very holistic approach to medicine, to hearing loss. And what she really does is concentrates on the person, their needs, your budget, all the things that are important to you in life, your grandchildren, where you go, the restaurants you eat in. So I found an article that was kind of interesting, and it was February 2007, and it was from the Journal of American Academy of Audiology. And it really talked about, they did a report for 4 years, and it was a 33-page report, and it was really just summed up in one single sentence. And that was that hearing aid use in adults is something that really improves the quality of life. It's based on their social, lifestyle, economics, psychology, and their emotional effect. And one of the most important things is that the article said is that people really need to see a hearing healthcare professional such as yourself. And I think, that's key. And I always kid about, would you go to your car dealer to have your appendix out because he, learned it in a book?
Right.
Probably not. So it's, that's kind of the light of it, but it's really true. You're a trained professional. You do this. You have a wonderful approach to how you treat your customers and your clients. So I just think that it's important to mention that they really need to go to a healthcare professional. And why is that so important?
Well, I think because hearing aids are so expensive, I think people make the decision based just on price. And I think, that's a generalization. I think a lot of people do that. And there are plenty of people that just will sell you a device, but it's really, hearing loss is more than that. I've talked in previous sessions about the fact that hearing loss affects your overall health in so many ways. And so to reduce the remediation of hearing loss just by, a transaction, it really does the person a disservice.
Right, because you have to talk to them and,
Yes.
Ask questions, where do they go? Do they have grandkids? What are they noticing? Those kind of things. And also dexterity. It's a pretty small device, so that probably has an impact on the type that you have as well. So I find that to be...
Right, and that's, like you said, it's important to work with, a licensed professional, somebody who has experience, because there are a lot of considerations, and dexterity is one of them. As we age, not only do we lose sensation in our fingertips, but, arthritis and things. Hearing aids are small devices, and they have small controls and small batteries, and so you have to take all of that into consideration when you're making, vision issues also,
Sure.
Macular degeneration, other vision issues. You need to take all of that into consideration when you're, recommending a hearing aid.
Sure, and I think the follow-up's important too. That they're able to come to you when they're having a problem, because they do have to be adjusted.
Absolutely.
And having that availability of you here all the time. So again, just, the importance of going to someone who's going to be there, who's going to do the follow-up, who, when your product's coming close to warranty, is going to recommend new technology for you because things are changing.
Right.
I think all those things are very important. And one of the questions that we had that were kind of interesting is all the different styles, behind the ear, in the canal. Totally in the canal, I guess, is now one. Can you just tell us a little bit about what each of those kind of mean?
Sure. The size of the hearing aid is dictated to some extent by the degree of hearing loss. So if you have a very severe hearing loss, generally you would wear a hearing aid that goes behind your ear, and then there would be a tube that comes over your ear and a custom molded ear mold that fits in your ear, where the sound would actually enter your ear from the hearing aid. The other type of behind the ear hearing aid that's very popular right now is the receiver in the canal. So you still have a device that goes behind your ear, but you have, instead of the tube, the clear tube, you have just a very thin wire, and then generally just a kind of a one-size-fits-all dome that goes in your ear. They're really not noticeable at all, and they're very comfortable for people. So those are very popular right now. You can also get custom fit products. So just like the ear mold, when you come in for your consultation, we take an impression of your ear, and then that impression is sent off to, you know, the manufacturer, and they put all of the components of the hearing aid into the shape of your ear. And the size of that varies. So it can be a large device that fills up this whole portion of your ear, and then, as you say, it goes all the way down in size to, you know, one that they call it invisible, you know, it goes into your ear canal. And really almost all technology or all features are available in all sizes of hearing aids. One limitation is the size of your ear canal. The size of the ear canal also has an impact on the size of the hearing aid that you can get. If you want the smallest invisible hearing aid and you have a really small ear canal, it's probably not going to be possible because the manufacturer won't be able to get all of the components into, you know, that small of a device.
Sure. Now, something you said that was kind of interesting too, and then we'll wrap it up for the folks out there, is, you know, we talked about different ones for different folks. If you have swimmers and things like that, so probably then in the canal wouldn't work. You probably need something that you have to take off and on, or does that not matter? If you have somebody like, you know, is an avid swimmer and every day they swim for whatever reason.
Right. Well, there are hearing aids that are basically placed in your ear by a professional, and they don't come out, you know, so you can shower and things like that, and leave the hearing aid in. So
I didn't realize that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much, and that kind of answered, you know, some of the questions that we had. There was several other ones, so we will get to those questions next week. And again, like we said, weeks to follow, so keep those questions coming in. We really appreciate it. I'm Dawn Bowerman with Blue Chip Marketing of Rochester, and I'm here with Dr. Ramona Stein of Sounds for Life. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful day. And Merry Christmas. We got 2 weeks before it's time.